Come on, Brina. What time is it?
It's time for the Trisbrina Show.
Welcome, friends. OMG, what a week. Can you believe it's Thursday already? What kind of music you got there?
I got great royalty-free music.
Is this really royalty-free?
Yeah.
It's like Buddy Holly.
So, when you live stream, different platforms like Facebook say, go ahead and use whatever music you want. And then they'll go, just kidding. And they take your audio away. So it's safer.
Oh, man, I need to rock out. Boy, it's been a week.
It's been a glorious week with so many things to do.
Always growing, expanding. Well, let's jump in here with all of y'all. Hello, welcome to the show.
Which episode is this? At some point, we're going to stop counting. But
I think it's 12.
I think it's 11.
It's 11? Okay.
I don't know.
Look at that. There we are. We're on the internet.
We're not live yet.
Yeah, we are. Don't
delay.
you worry. We be live.
So, you guys...
Can you turn that down a bit? We're live.
How's that? Is that just perfect?
I love it. I just love it.
We have had a day of opportunities. Some people would say a day of things breaking, not going according to plan. But I reframe it so fast. I reframe it as, like we talked about in last week's episode, or sometimes when you ask Source, God, love for something, it's this or something better. So sometimes in order for something better to happen, what you have planned needs to come crashing down, like my computer crashing down.
Oh, you don't even want to know before we went live what happened to Missy's computer.
I don't even know where all my passwords are. I'm in the middle of
what
a
it
new
is, what
project.
it is, what it
so
is.
If I'm saying something better. And that actually really ties into what we're going to talk about. No
control? Can I have it on low?
He wants the remote control. I'll turn it off. Would you like it on off?
No, I just want it really low. Today's episode is going to be so apropos. We all can relate to this one, but I'll let Sabrina set it up because it kind of came through her.
Yeah, it's about getting comfortable being uncomfortable. And you may have heard that term before. I think the very first time I ever heard it was maybe in a dance class or a yoga class.
She won't let me touch her phone. It's a thing.
My pretty little pink phone. Where the teacher was giving a stretch and saying, go to the point of comfortable discomfort. And I remember thinking, what's this? It was actually the hippy dippy dude that hadn't started yoga.
A hippy dippy dude.
Yeah, he started yoga later in life, so he didn't have that perfect ballet form, but he had gotten flexible, and he's like, you just want to be comfortable being uncomfortable. You want to press up against discomfortable comfort. And I'm just like, what are you trying to say? Yeah, you do.
I totally do.
And I thought, well, that makes such sense because with dancing, right, in ballet, you put your leg up on the bar and you stretch towards it. You don't just go to, this is where it's easy. You go to where it starts to feel like, oh, yeah, right there. Right there's that point that I can merge into, bounce into, relax into, where it feels like, this is slightly uncomfortable, but it's not pain. We talk about it a lot in martial yoga and Happy Healthy Back.
Well, the beautiful thing about this lesson for today and this share is this applies to life, this applies to business, this applies to relationships, this applies to everything because as a human being, we're always stretching and leaning in and growing or wanting to or getting stuck in these boxes that we call comfort zones. So as we dive into this,
without
really
even knowing,
listen in from wherever you're wanting to grow the most right now. Yeah. For me, it has to do with actually business and expanding our reach and expanding my ability to share the love in the way it wants to come through and noticing these limiting ideas that are showing up from time to time. They're sneaky. So let's unpack the sneaky ones and really let's deliver something that can take us to the next level.
And I think one of the reasons that it can feel sneaky is because it's so accepted. Some ideas are very accepted in society. Why? Because we all want to maintain it as the truth so that we can all hide behind that part of us that may be insecure.
And hello to so many that are dialing in right now. I see Devin. By the way, some of you who are here are students in our Life Force Mastery Dojo, and I just want to do a quick shout out to Devin. She wrote the most beautiful essay and sent it in for her first belt. We do belts in our system, and she earned her purple belt. Congratulations, Devin. You wrote a very beautiful essay. It really touched my heart, and I love seeing the people coming in. Many of you have been coming to the Trisbrina show on the regular. Hi, Joe.
Thank you so much.
Hello, Wendy, for being with us again. Kim DeClaire just popped in, Linda, and many more.
So, I was saying, if we all can maintain and uphold this non-truth, then we can all hide behind it.
Right.
Right? Like the emperor's new clothes. And we all say, oh, yeah, he's got clothes on. Do you even know that story?
I know the story. Even if I'm from England, I still know that story. This is a running joke around here.
So, here's how it sort of bubbled up. This catalyst that is going to be an amazing conversation is we're really starting to work more and more with people feeling confident on camera, particularly on business, because if you Google marketing video 2019 predictions, you'll see that like everything is going video. Now I think it's because the brain is it films in pictures. Our memory is all photos. The words and things come later. So they're saying if somebody watches something for 10 seconds or reads something for 10 seconds, the retention rate is like 100 million times more if they watch it. They're even thinking that platforms like Facebook are just going to be almost all video.
So crazy.
Anyway, because of that, we're really excited to help coaches, teachers, leaders, anyone with a business start feeling comfortable and confident sharing online, even if it's just like, hey, I have a business down the street and I'm having a sale. Would you like to come? Or being on Skype, seeing clients face to face. Video is just in every aspect of business. So it's been a huge topic of conversation with our clients and classes and actually other business owners who are reaching out to get our help because
we love video.
Yeah, we love video and we've been doing it for a long time. So here's something I kept hearing. I'm not comfortable on camera yet. I'm just not comfortable on camera yet. I'm getting there. Okay. Well, how about this? There's no camera here. Let's pretend that you're about to film and let's just have like a practice. What would you say if you went on camera and said, you know, hi, my name's Sabrina. Thanks for tuning into the show. I wanted to tell you about this special offer. And the person chokes just like they would if the camera was there. So
there's no camera, you're just having them speak?
Yeah, like practice being on camera. And it's the same thing. That I don't know what to say, I don't know how to stand, all of that. So it wasn't that they weren't comfortable on camera, it's that they just weren't comfortable. Right? Blame it. Poor camera. Camera's getting blamed.
That camera over there. You are a troublemaker. No, you're right. A lot of people have said that to us. I'm thinking of one gentleman right now who came up to me. We were at a mastermind here in Austin, and he came up after the session and said, Tristan, I need help with camera, being on camera. I always shut down. I have so much I want to say. I have so much I want to share, but the camera shuts me down. Funny.
And he was a doctor of a clinic here, right?
That's a different one.
Oh.
This guy was an author. And so I was like, okay, well, what's going on when you see the camera? He says, well, you know, I get all these ideas about how I should be showing up and how I should say my word. And I'm like, wow, so that little device,
that little black box,
is triggering all this stuff.
Yeah.
Now, what's happened to us over time is the camera's disappeared, which is to your point, what camera? Is there really a camera?
Well, my point,
or is there a thought?
My point is that so many of us, we just aren't comfortable, or we can say, I'm not confident in front of the camera. Well, I'm going to say, let's take that camera away. And been working with people on, it really is that you're just not confident. Now, confident, not just at all. You're not confident at all. That's not what we're saying. It's you're not confident doing this new thing. Right?
Look who hopped in.
Hey!
Hello, Glenn.
Mr. Glenn Ledwell is
Good
in
on,
the
mate.
house.
Awesome.
So it's confidence in a particular way. Like maybe you're really confident on stage, but really insecure in social situation. Hello, that would be me.
Really?
Oh,
I
no.
don't believe you.
Oh, I would much rather MC a show for 1,000 people
That's true.
than walk into
That's
a party
true.
we might have to go to later with 35 entrepreneurs. Oh, I just would much rather MC the
That's
show.
so bizarre, though, isn't
Because
it?
because it feels structured and because it feels safe and because I know my role and I know who I am
so
and I know when I'm
opposite most
supposed to
people.
speak. But when I go to like this party thing, it's like I don't know who to talk to. I don't know where to stand. I don't know where the cool people are because I shouldn't be there. And yeah, that just brings up a
Stuff.
lack of confidence. But guess what? I haven't done a lot of it.
Right.
And that's sort of the point, is that lack of confidence is oftentimes I just haven't done that thing very often. And that we get confident by doing something over and over. You can just go back to being a 3-year-old. They're not confident walking. Well, maybe a 1-year-old. By the time they're 3, they might not be thinking about it. They might be thinking about running.
Yeah, true.
Or driving. Oh my gosh, I remember driving. I'm like looking right at the end of the hood. I couldn't even think about looking down the road or doing something else in the car.
So what happens that shuts us down, that blocks us from being the natural flow that you are when you're in the shower in the morning, singing your morning song, right? Like we're all so comfortable, I think, just being ourselves. It's when we have these projections that we throw on others, or the poor camera, as we're saying here, that we're being judged, right?
Yeah.
That we're not enough. I'm not comfortable is just a saying that I think we've all come up with to cover the fear that we have that we're going to get judged.
Yep. It's not the camera. It's the people that are going to see what the camera captures.
I have this. It's a joke, right? Like, so we watch this show called AGT, America's Got Talent. It's really cool. We didn't used to like it. Now we really like it. And this little boy comes on last night, and he is so friggin'
He's probably
cute.
12, 13.
He loves Broadway. Maybe you've seen the show. He loves Broadway. He begs his parents all the time, taking the shows in New York, and he just eats it up. Like he's saturated by the joy of singing and performing and this whole thing. And he comes out on stage. Of course you're going to be friggin' scared, right? There's thousands of people, Simon Cowell and all these different judges. You're about to get judged for your talent.
And it's your one chance. They all go,
yeah.
This
you
is the biggest day of my life.
33 minutes to change your life, right? And like, so he's 13, he's going to change his life. But here's what I find so interesting. If they get over that first hurdle of fear, which I know so well from speaking or any kind of endeavor, athletics, asking a girl out on a date, you get over the hump, right? You might make it. So he gets out there and he's shaking. But they encourage him because they're kind. And he starts singing. And this other character comes and just assumes the role. And this boy sings his soul out. And everyone is up. And they're clapping. And I'm sitting on the couch crying. I'm like, oh my God, it's so good. And then at the end, it's like his personality came back in and started to cry because he couldn't realize the validation and all the people.
Fell on the floor.
He fell on the floor. But it's like these two different states of being happen. There's the pre-state where the fear and the concern or the anxiety and all that stuff that blocks us from being who we're meant to be. And then if we take the frickin' step and take the chance and step out on whatever that stage is for you, and then you lose yourself in your art, in yourself, magic happens. And y'all know what I'm talking about because you've done it. You've had moments where you're just in flow, right?
And you lose yourself, for me, because I stop making it all about me. And I start thinking about it's how I'm serving. When I've done theater, I love Broadway too. It's about entertaining. It isn't, I'm not thinking like, I wonder what they're thinking of me with this top hat and cane. It's that I'm offering an experience. I'm offering an emotion. And it's switching from being self-conscious to a place of service.
Totally.
And
can you hang on that for a second? From a place of?
Service.
Self-consciousness, did you say? To a place of service?
Yeah.
So you've changed the identity.
Changed the identity.
You've changed the character. So now you're a protector, a provider, a giver, a lover.
A real teacher.
Did you guys catch that? Isn't that the moments in your life when you're your best, is when it's not about you? Really. Yep. I mean, later I think it comes for full circle and you realize it is about me getting into flow.
Yeah.
But it's not about that you.
Yeah. We were talking today about how things can feel uncomfortable, right? Because this conversation is about get comfortable being uncomfortable. Well, let's say that you have a habit that you're ready to let go of, that it's time to let go of, but you're really comfortable in that habit. So let's make it smoking cigarettes. I'm really comfortable smoking cigarettes because I know what to do with my hand. I use the excuse of inhaling deeply and exhaling deeply. Yeah, that's what I'm really doing, but I use the cigarette.
I love how you're holding the finger like you've done this before.
When I want a break, I know to go stand out back. I have an excuse to take a break. I know how to relate to other people who smoke. Now, let's say I want to stop smoking. That's going to feel really uncomfortable because I don't know what to do with my hands and I don't know what to do to relax. I don't know how to breathe deeply without holding a cigarette. I have a whole ritual around taking the cigarette out of the pack, lighting it, holding it, inhaling it, flicking the ashes. It's just the whole thing. So it's very uncomfortable not to have that. It's very uncomfortable if every time I go out with my friends and have a drink, we all have a cigarette and then all of a sudden I'm not. So even though it's a better decision because it's not what the subconscious is used to, it's going to be uncomfortable. So uncomfortable isn't necessarily like, oh, I'm pushing the boundaries into something really scary and bigger than me. Uncomfortable is just really anything that you're not used to doing.
Outside your zone.
We're comfortable if I wore two different size shoes, like my feet are the same size.
Which she's done.
Yeah, on accident. But let's say that I decide on my left foot I'm going to wear a size 6 and on my right foot a 6.5. So the left foot's always a little squeezed. That's going to start feeling the norm. And when I put the right size shoe on the left foot, it's going to feel really big. It's like, oh, wow, it's kind of awkward. Oh, that reminds me, like, this is hilarious. So years ago, when I was teaching a lot of private one-on-one ballroom, I had a student come, and it was a friend of ours. And it was a male, and he really wanted to learn Latin dance and do it right. So he wanted to get the proper shoes. And even for the male, the Latin dance shoe has a little bit of a heel. A little bit, like an inch, sort of like a flamenco shoe for a man. Well, he came to the lesson, and he put those shoes on, got up off the bench to walk over to meet me. And he was walking like, oh my gosh, I can't stand up. His balance was so off from this tiny little heel. And it was so funny because I thought, an inch? My flip-flops are higher than that. Like, how can you be uncomfortable? But there was a time that I probably wore some heels for the first time that it was uncomfortable. And now we don't even think about it. Or the girls you see wearing the 4-inch heels, they're not uncomfortable. You look at them and say, or I do, and that must be so uncomfortable because I don't wear them.
Okay, let's talk about this concept now of being uncomfortable. What's the big issue with feeling uncomfortable? Okay, like, no, seriously, stay with me on this for a minute. What if being uncomfortable is normal? What if being uncomfortable is okay? What if being uncomfortable is just something that's part of life? And you're like, oh yeah, I'm growing, or I have opportunity here to step it up, right? What if uncomfortable is the precursor to you stepping into flow state? Let me explain. A lot of pro athletes, musicians, artists, they challenge themselves and their brains on the regular, and they get into these states called flow state. But you don't get into flow state by always being comfortable. No. You have got to get uncomfortable to get into flow state. There we go. Your brain needs to be challenged. Now, you need to practice on a regular basis so there's a level of fluency in your artistry, but you still want to get into this sweet spot where right before you hit flow state, sometimes you kind of feel uncomfortable. I'll tell you, my best sessions that I've ever had, like let's say on stage speaking, have been backstage moments of great heebie-jeebies. I was seriously uncomfortable. And it thrust me into this, I know my stuff. I would do my Qigong tapping and breathing and flow, and I'd have a couple of NLP anchors that I'd trigger to just put me in the pocket. But when I'd come out, I might even be a little bit like shaky or buzzy in my body. And taking it all in, I'm excited, right? That's uncomfortable though, seeing all this sea of people there. But I've done some work right, in advance so that I'm okay being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's like when somebody's got a choke around my neck in martial arts, I'm used to it because I've trained in this is uncomfortable, but I know what to do. I know what to do because I trust myself. I trust my breath. I trust flow. And I trust the moment. I'm not, even if I were to, in martial arts, there's this thing called getting tapped out, right? Well, that's okay because I'm going to learn and grow from it. If I go out on stage and I'm nervous, the big fear that I have is that they're going to throw tomatoes at us, right? They're going to boo us off the stage. Oh, well, will you level up if that happened? Of course you would, right? Or is it going to shut you down to the point that you can't come back? But irrespective of all of that, I've always found that I've stepped into flow state because I've leaned into it with a willingness to learn.
Yeah.
And the best of me, I mean, things have come through. I have said things that I don't even know where it came from. And people have been like, that was amazing. There is a majesty in you and me and all. There is a genius inside each and every one of us that we don't get to tap into unless we lean into feeling uncomfortable deliberately and get okay with it. Yeah. That's kind of what I wanted to say about let's be okay with being uncomfortable. It's actually a good precursor.
It is a label.
It's
uncomfortable. Right? Somebody might feel that same feeling. Somebody might say, oh, my stomach's so nervous. And someone else might say, I'm so excited I have butterflies. Right? It's a different label that we put on that energy. Because energy, you can transform energy that feels like nervousness into excitement. I know if ever I'm going to speak or even film a video or just be here with you guys, if I feel nothing, that's like the worst thing for me. I want to feel a little bit like, oh no, like we don't even know what to say. I want to feel a little bit of something so that I can take that energy and use it, right? You want the river to be flowing.
That's right.
And uncomfortable could feel like the river flowing. Think of it like a balloon, right? We're a balloon and we're holding X amount of air. And in order to grow, you have to blow one more breath into that balloon. And the balloon has to go, oh gosh, I'm a little uncomfortable with that little bit of extra air. But in order to be bigger, you will be. And then the balloon will just get used to being that big.
That's expansion. Yeah, there will be moments of, this is...
What will it be a balloon?
Growing pains. I love what's coming through here. I want to reference back to some things you guys are saying. So Joanna says, it's interesting when she gets feedback from others about her, it amazes her how others see things in her that we can't see in ourselves. We're so close, right? Yeah. Like I see those people on those shows when they get the validation and the feedback. They can't believe
like this
that
little
you
boy
saw
that just fell on the floor.
that I was good, that I sounded nice, that I was funny. Why don't we see that? Getting too many filters in the way. You know what's amazing? Like, it's good to be humble, right? And not to be boastful and all of that. It's good to be humble and to receive an accolade is a beautiful thing. It's good to know
that, for me, it's good to know that I'm an empty vessel and
that's coming.
And I allow.
Yes. And that. But I'm going to segue back to that because she's tuned into some other stuff. But to receive the accolade is beautiful, and at the same time, know that you are beautiful. And just share, like the rose shares its fragrance. It's not like, did you like it?
Yeah.
Do you like my smell? Is it okay? Is it good enough? It's more like, here I am in all my glory, just
it's like
sharing this
I'm
love.
Smelling.
Hey, y'all.
I'm fragrancing. You can smell it if you want. If you don't, that's cool too.
It's still humble. It's not at all in any way. It's still humble. It's just being full of your true self.
But it's okay, and it's a very good thing for the rose to know, I smell good.
I smell good.
I smell good.
How good do you feel and smell?
I am fragrancing.
I smell good.
I smell good.
Okay, so Joanna goes on to say, often the magical moments happen in the surrender and the trust that Source is using me as an instrument, knowing all is divinely inspired.
Yeah.
Isn't that when we know? Okay, great stuff. Thank you for that, Joanna. Really, isn't that Source using us when we're tapping into our genius? Isn't that we got out of the way enough, that we allowed the beauty of who and what we are to pour through us?
Yep.
How can you take credit for that?
Yep.
Take credit for getting out of the way, I guess,
Yep.
and allowing that divinity to use you.
One of my favorite things to do, well, actually, one of my least favorite things to do from that part of me that feels uncomfortable and gets the heebie-jeebies, and one of my favorite things to do, it's the exact same thing, but I'm going to talk about the other end of the stick, the part of me that's like, it's going to be a mystery what happens, is like recently, time is really hard for me. Maybe last week, I filmed 3 videos in a row by myself with the phone and a tripod while he was at the gym. And that meant that I had to do all the tech. Oh, it was so hard. I had to press the button to record, and then I had to stop it when it was done. And but I don't script things, so I like to say, I'm going to talk about how to be natural on camera. That was what this video was about. And I'm going to talk about where to look so that the person watching feels eye contact, and give examples of what it feels like when you don't do that and why it's a good thing. And that's it. And then I know I'm going to try to talk for under 5 minutes. And then when I watch it later, I couldn't, if I had scripted it, it would have been totally different. Like I did one, I haven't published it yet, about a lifeguard, about how a lifeguard can't be self-conscious when they're diving in. Like what if a lifeguard was saying as it's diving into the water to save the little boy that fell off the raft, you know, like, I hope this dive looks really good and everybody's impressed, and I hope no one sees that my butt looks big in this suit, right? That would just totally not be good. They need to just be, let me
You got
help
some
the boy.
saving to do. Get to saving. Don't worry about your other stuff.
Yeah.
Well, as a healer, a teacher, an uplifter, a coach, or whatever role you play, you don't really have the room when you're out to serve. You shouldn't be sitting and go, oh, am I ready? Am I... So look, screw that, man. Just get in there and take care of business and help the peoples.
Yep. But the way that story came out when I was filming, when I watched it back, it was like I said all these things that I would have wanted to remember to say, but I didn't plan it. And
where did that come from?
Because I left holes, I left space. And to me, sometimes being uncomfortable is saying, I'm going to leave space for magic.
So
I'm going to leave space for miracles.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave space for the something better.
Yeah.
So even though my Chrome browser doesn't work and I can't access any of my passwords right now, it's driving me nuts, I'm leaving space for something better.
And you're doing the opposite of what some people do, is they script everything to the letter, to the T. And we're talking about cameras here. There's a time and a place maybe for a teleprompter where there's something you really have to deliver to the letter, right? We see that all the time in politics and whatever. It's so scripted, but it leaves no room for creativity or for flow or for that access you're talking about. So be careful not to try to make things too perfect. Leave room for perfection to use you. I want to close my part on today's show with this. Even after all these years of teaching and speaking and being on video, and there's a lot of practice and there's a lot of years, I still have this thought in my mind that I'm getting ready. I still have this thought that shows up that I'm not good enough. Yeah. I still have these thoughts that say, well, one day I'll be ready to really share. I'm just flirting with it. I know that sounds silly to some people. Maybe other people are like, yeah, man, would you hurry up and like get on with it? But seriously, those thoughts are still there. Will they ever go away? I don't know, but I don't care anymore.
Like you published a video of us, that little dancing clip this week on Satori.
Yeah, and you had a
Facebook.
judgment on yourself.
And I said, I don't mind that you posted it. I don't think it's very good of me. And he's like, you look so cute. And I'm like, are you kidding?
I loved how she looked.
And I was like, my shoulders look like this. My dancing
I couldn't
looks like
believe
this.
what she said about herself. Like, this is self-judgment at its best right here. She's judging whatever. And I'm like, you look amazing. You look beautiful. You're sexy. Your movements are stunning. And yet we have these judgments on ourselves. And I thought, man, if I'm still beating myself up, or I can hear the beat up thoughts, they don't get me anymore because I just go.
Yeah.
I'm here to serve. And that voice, and I hope that you'll take that to whatever degree you need to expand, it's okay that it's there. Just don't listen to it. Focus on the beauty and the service, and the lifeguard's got a job to do, and then it's okay.
And you can ask, is that the voice of love?
It's not.
Is that the voice of flow? Is that the voice of Source who always has your back? You know,
it's a little boy,
or whose
that we
voice
never
is
thought
it?
he was enough.
And is it the first time you heard it, or is this something
I've heard it a lot.
Yeah, I've heard that same
But
criticism for a
don't
long
let
time.
it shut you down, and especially don't let it stop you from ever starting. Because I'm here to tell you that you're not going to get to a point where you're so comfortable that it's gone, and you're like, I finally arrived. I'm ready. You will never be friggin' ready. Just go. Just do it anyway, and then you'll get ready.
Yep.
And you'll be more ready and more ready and more ready over time. You'll just be like, oh, that's just that voice. And I welcome it to be there because it helps me elevate.
And it's in the friction. It's in maybe the uncomfortableness. It's in what could feel like resistance. It's inside of things not going according to plan that usually the most incredible things happen. You know, it's a brain thing. It's a human trait to, I want to know everything exactly as it is so I'm comfortable. But wouldn't it be such a better life if we could say, I want to be well informed so I make the best decisions and allow as much possibility and miracles to happen. You've got to leave space for miracles, and the miracles come in those parts that feel uncomfortable because they're just big open spaces.
Thank you all for the beautiful feedback, the love that you're pouring in, and sharing your own insights. There's been great contributions that have really helped this conversation to evolve. Mm-hmm. So we always welcome your insights, and this continues. As you know, it's date night now. So go and have a date, or we just had a date. We're going to go on date night, and we will have our little phones with us. Sometimes the waiters look at us like, you guys are just on your phones and you're out. We're still with you guys talking and like sharing. It's so much fun for us to be in this dance with you guys. So thanks for being part of this.
And I
awesome.
I just want to say one more thing. In this type of situation, those of you who are going on camera and have a business and adding that aspect, the most incredible thing you can do to connect with someone is to connect fresh and raw. Yeah. Like definitely have good lighting, make sure your sound's okay, you know, make sure you're not like in a junky closet when you're filming, right? Or you can be. That, like, if I said, hey, let's meet at Panera tomorrow at 10, right? And we have that meeting, I'm not going to go write down on a piece of paper everything I'm going to say to you and in the order, or that would have no life to it. And if you can think of your conversations with people on camera like that, you have to leave room for the contribution. It's so beautiful when you get this feedback and that type of connection. And it's the same way no matter what you're uncomfortable about. If it's, you know, even a lot of fears, like I kind of have a fear of walking over something, like if it's a little plank on a ditch and maybe it's only 2 feet and it's narrow, which makes no sense because I competed on the balance beam, but something happened since then that I feel really uncomfortable. And the more I am uncomfortable, the greater my chances of failure.
I got your phone. Put your music on. I snuck her phone away from her. That's like a big deal, just so you guys know.
No, he can have my phone.
All right. Well, thank you for being part of the Trisbrina Show. We're always trying to level it up here, bring stuff that resonates. Let us know if you like this conversation. What else do you want us to talk about? Because we got the gift of gab, you know? Woo! All right. Peace up. Much love.
Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll see you on the replay. Smile. We're looking for a screenshot.